Greetings. I love a rainbow, and a rainbow usually only comes when it rains. I got my little raindrop earrings on today because some stuff is raining on me, but I'm here to shine the light. That's what Inner Light Ministries does, shine the light. So I thought I'd start with this little chant of mine so we can all sing along, because when I sing, I trigger that parasympathetic nervous system by deep breaths and expressing, and I bring that calm, I bring that rainbow to my heart. So I light up the world. Sing it with me. It goes like this. I light up the world with my light, yeah. Light up the world with my light. I light up the world with my light. I light up the world with my light. I light up the world with my light. You got it? I light up the world with my light. 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 Now think of somebody that you love. You light up the world with your light. You light up the world with your light. I'm thinking about Chihuahua. You light up the world with your light. You light up the world with your light. How about we as a community? We light up the world with our light. 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 Let's bring it up to I light up the world with my light. 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 Now we're gonna improv. I light it up, 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 I light up the world. I light it up, 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 light up the world. I light it up, I light it up, I light it up, I light it up, I light up the world with my light. Giving you a rainbow.
Amen. Thank you, Amy. I think you light up the world with just your presence,
Oh,
with your presence and your music. Thank you so much, everyone. That's Amy Steinberg.
thank you.
Welcome, welcome to Inner Light Ministries. Welcome to this extraordinary adventure in life, this extraordinary adventure in the divine and our relationship in it, to it, as a part of it, expressing in and through each and every one of us. I'm the Reverend Deborah Johnson, and so happy to have you with us, regardless of wherever you are, regardless of the time of day, regardless of wherever it is. Welcome home. This is the right place. There's only one of us here. In the divine, there's no time, there's no space, there's no distance. Whether you have done this many times before or whether this is your very first time, know that you are right on time. Right on time. Thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing your life with us. Thank you for opening your heart. Thank you for your consciousness, for the yes that brings you here. Because I know that if you are tuning in right now, that there's a part of you that's yearning. If you're tuning in right now, there's something within you that's awake. There's something within you that is open. There's something within you that is yielded. And welcome. Welcome. This is an extraordinary opportunity for us to continue on the labyrinths of our lives together. At Inner Light, we have a vision. We have a vision of an empowered world that is environmentally sustainable, socially just, spiritually fulfilling. And we're here to do our part. We're here to live in to the potentiality that is our divine inheritance, that is our very DNA. to live it not just on the individual level, but to live it on the collective level so that we can bring forth the beloved community, so that our human presence on the planet can be a blessing, that we can live in the sacred interconnectedness. There's an interdependence here that we can't get away from. We're all part of the same thing. We're all part of the same thing. And we're here to remember that, to practically apply the universal spiritual principles. So if what I'm saying is true, what are the implications of that? What are the implications for your personal relationships? What are the implications of that for your career aspirations? What are the implications of that for the way that we organize ourselves in social political arenas? What are the implications of that for all of the creativity that's in you trying to come out? Oh, now is not the time to be mealy mouthed, and now is not the time to live in fear, and now is not the time to play small. We need you. We need you. We need more people to live into the sense of aliveness. Just breathe that in. One of the things that we do, that we offer to help people, because we provide tools for living. One of the tools that we provide you every week, every single week during this Sunday service part, affirmative activations. They're not just words, they're vibrations. They are frequencies. They are energetic recalibrations. So if you dare to partake of them, take them in, ingest them, digest them, let them assimilate within you, let it take root. I guarantee you that it will bear good fruit. So don't just run through them. When I ask you to say them with me now, it's just the beginning. It's like when you get the gift and you take the wrapping paper off and you see what the gift is, but then you got to use it. You have to do something with the gift. So all I'm doing right now, when I'm asking you to say these with me, is we're just unwrapping it. So you can see there's a gift there. Embrace it. Do something with it as a gift. Our topic today is override the current tides. Override the current tides. The affirmative activations will be coming on your screen. And if there's any way that you are able to, I invite you to say them with me right now. I have the desire and capacity to stay upstairs in consciousness. Never do I allow the drama du jour to weigh me down. My third eye is never blinded. My inner light is never dimmed. I choose to pierce through the confusion and behold the clarity. I choose to override the current tide and be buoyed up on blessings. I choose to bear witness to goodness of God manifesting at all times. Refusing to run on empty, I fill up my spiritual tank every day. The joy I have, the world didn't give it, and the world can't take it away. Just breathe that in. You know, that last line is one of the famous spirituals. This joy I have, the world didn't give it, and the world can't take it away. Breathe that in. I'm going to invite Amy Steinberg to come back and to give us an offering, musical offering to cultivate our consciousness for today.
This is a song that was co-written by several great New Thought writers. This was co-written by Karen Drucker, Doug LeBeau, Donna Michael, Eddie Watkins, and Penelope Williams. It took a village to write this tune. And I love this tune, and it just seemed so perfect for the theme today. So I hope you enjoy it. It's called Everything Happens For Me. Everything that happens for me. Everything that happens for me. Everything that happens for me. Everything is for my highest good. It's a nice chant. You can chant along with that part. Come on. Everything that happens for me. Everything that happens for me. Everything that happens for me. Everything is for my highest good. All of life moves toward my wholeness, pieces of the mystery. When I choose to embrace each moment, I am free. Everything that happens for me. Everything that happens for me. Everything that happens for me. Everything is for my highest good. I love how that feels. You see, in this life and every moment, there's an opportunity to create the highest vision that I can be. Everything that happens for me. Everything that happens for me. Everything that happens for me. Everything is for my highest good. One more time. Everything that happens for me. Everything that happens for me. Everything that happens for me. Everything is for my highest good.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We so appreciate that. And yes, that's a very, very good choice.
Good.
Just breathe that in. Everything happens for my highest good. That's a choice. I want you to feel that. Everything happening for my highest good. It's a perspective. It's a perspective. Your experience of life isn't what happens. It's how you name what happens. It's whatever it is that you declare it to be. The healing journey isn't about trying to erase the past. The healing journey isn't about trying to change what's happened. The healing journey is not about unringing the bell. You can't unring the bell. But you do have a choice from every moment forward. What is the significance of this? What does this mean to me? What am I going to get out of this? We make a God out of anything that we allow to define us. Don't make a God out of circumstances. Don't make a God out of mistakes. Don't make a God out of something that's happening in somebody else's consciousness. Don't allow the external world to define you. Contrary to popular belief, spirituality is not activity. Spirituality is identity. Breathe that in. Spirituality isn't ultimately just about practices or things that you do. Spirituality is about who you are and knowing who you are. And based upon who you are and who you think that you are, then the activities happen. The who you are is the base. The activity is the fruit. The topic today is override the current tide. There are a couple of scriptures that come to my mind right now. Some that I hold near and dear that keep watch with me. One is, be not conformed to this age, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. See, there are a lot of things that we do with forms. We can inform, we can take them in, we can reform, we can try to shift them around a little bit, we can conform, we can go with the forms, or we can transform, to go across, to go beyond, where you can transform. But how are we transformed? We're transformed by the renewing of our minds. Let that sink in. Be not conformed to this age, this current tide, this temporal existence, and all of the things that are fleeting, that are shifting, that are changing. Don't conform with that, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. See, you have to do something. You have to do something in consciousness. If you just keep thinking the same thing over and over and over again, then you're going to wind up in the same situation over and over and over again. No. The only way to not conform to what's going on is to renew your mind. It's like it's like what happens in hypnosis. If you keep your attention riveted on something long enough, you become under its suggestion. This could be anything, even driving. If you don't move your eyes from side to side, you become hypnotized by it. And what you find is that you veer in the direction of your attention. Okay? So if you're looking off to the side of the road and that's what has your attention, slowly but surely, you're going to start veering in that direction. Okay? In order not to get just like hypnotized by the road, you have to move around a little bit. You have to move your eyes. You have to dislodge. Because here's the thing, when I say that you're under its suggestion, when you're under its suggestion, you think that it's real. You think that it's real. So you could, if a hypnotist were in front of you right now and hypnotized you, you know, sometimes they do this as like, you know, party things, or maybe it's a magician that's selling out a ballroom or something like that. They've got an ongoing act and they can like hypnotize the whole audience. So under hypnosis, the hypnotist could tell you, go over here, pick that mop and mop up that spill. Under that hypnotic suggestion, you just mopping away. Ain't no mop. There's not even a spill. But because you're under the hypnotic suggestion of it, you're acting as though it's so. We've got to break out from the trances. We have to snap out of the hypnotic trances that we're in. This is happening with us on all kinds of levels. It's happening at the personal level. It's happening at the collective level. This notion that we're so tied up in the news, we're so tied up in our finances, we're so tied up in the drama du jour, which means like the drama of the day, like whatever it is that's going on, we can't see around us anymore. It's literally like not seeing the forest for the trees. We're like fixated on this tree. You know, what's wrong with this tree? When did this tree get in my life? Where did this tree come from? Where is this tree going to go? Who brought this tree into my life? I said I didn't want no more trees. You know, no, you'll never understand the significance of that tree outside of the context of the forest. So to really understand that tree, you got to step back a second. I'm not talking separate from the tree. I'm saying get a little distance enough mentally that allows you to get a new perspective and to see it, to override, to transcend, to go above it. To go above it. Because if you're so stuck on just what's in your face, you can't see that there's a whole forest. And now you begin to understand the significance of that particular tree in your life. Another passage in scripture that I really love, when Jesus explains that we're in it, but not of it. So the New Testament first appears in the Greek language, for reasons that I'm not even going to go into right now. The Old Testament in Hebrew, the New Testament in Greek. And the Greek word for in is similar sounding than ours, in, but it means next to, beside, in front of, behind, above, below, all around. You get what I'm saying? You're in it. It's surrounding all over you. this, but you're not of it. You're in it, but you're not of it. And that word of is the Greek word ek, which also means from. In fact, most of the time when that word is being used, it's interesting in the King James Version that they said of. From would be a more accurate linguistic description. From, spatially, that yes, you're in this stuff that's all around you, but you come from someplace else. Your origins are something else. You're not this. All around you, kind of like if you get mud on the windshield is still clear. The windshield is still clear, but you're not going to be able to see through it because there's all that mud and crud. You just have to wash it off. Listen to what I'm saying. You just got to wash it off. There's nothing wrong with you. There's just a lot of mud and crud that's caked to us and stuck to us. And when we don't know who we are, we think we're the mud. That's what we think that we are. It's interesting in our society, particularly here in the United States, and the way that we judge things by the appearances. We do this all the time with people. What do they look like? How, quote unquote, clean are they? What are they wearing? How groomed do we think that they are or not? And it's so interesting because there's so much judgment about the person based upon the package that literally sometimes all people will see is the mud and the crud, particularly when it comes to persons who are experiencing homelessness, who are living out on the street. A lot of times people aren't even seeing like a real human being, let alone a spiritual being, because so busy focused on the mud. Or on the other end, they may see somebody that's all dressed up and refined and whatever, three-piece suit, the evening gown, and all the trappings in the luxury car or whatever. And the same kind of judgment just on the other end of the spectrum. Elevating those persons to some level that's above everybody else. As though their windshield shined brighter. Or it's better than everybody else's windshield. That somehow or another, they're of a higher stature because they don't have the mud and the crud all over them. This is nonsense. It's just nonsense. We're spiritual beings. No matter our station in life, no matter what we look like or how we're dressed or whatever, that does not increase or decrease one iota the truth of who we are. Every spiritual tradition tells you this. To not judge by the appearances, whether they call it Maya, whether they call it illusion. It's like, don't judge by the appearance. Don't judge by the appearance. Don't judge by it. I'm not saying that you have to pretend like it's not there. I'm not saying put your head in the sand, or what we sometimes refer to as quote unquote spiritual bypass, where we're thinking so much in our consciousness, keeping it upstairs, that we're ignoring everything that's going on. When I was in training to be a spiritual practitioner, it's kind of like a lay minister, we were taught you see people for all they can be and you meet them where they are. Are you with me? You see them for all they can be and you meet them where they are. In that example that I was just talking about, if I'm just walking along and I see everybody and, oh, isn't this great? We're all spiritual beings and all the rest of that. And I'm stepping over you on the sidewalk at the same time as though you don't exist, that's spiritual bypass. Okay? You see people for all they can be, but you meet them where they are. You meet them where you are. Maybe they need a sandwich. It's like, who knows what each of those situations will call for, but you want to do both. In parenting or in one-on-one relationships, whatever, you've got something that's going on with your 10-year-old. You see them for all that they are and you meet them. You see them for all that they can be and you meet them where they are. You see, they're going to be a self-actualized, wonderful adult. But they're in this squabble right now. They're having challenges, being bullied or whatever it is, who stole whose toy or whatever. You deal with them right then. But if you only do one or the other, you miss it. If the only thing that you're doing is dealing with your kid and all of their dramas du jour and whatnot, you're missing. You're missing the extraordinary person that they will become and your responsibility to help steward that. And on the other hand, if all you're doing is taking a look at, whoo, they're just this great person and you're not tending to the specifics of what is involved in their life right now, you're going to miss it. I heard somebody say not too long ago, and I thought, oh, this is perfect. The person said, I'm not raising children. I'm raising adults. I care for my children, but I'm raising adults. And I thought that is the perfect blend of what I'm talking about seeing them for all they can be and meeting them where they are. There's a famous story in the New Testament. Sometimes it's referred to as the tempest. You know, I'm a metaphysical Bible instructor at a couple of different institutes of higher learning that teach ministerial students. And I love metaphysical interpretations in particular because it looks at everything from the standpoint of consciousness. So absolutely everything in the story represents consciousness. Every character, the terrain, the weather, actions, objects, everything. So if there's a story about a boat, on the water in the storm. This isn't just a yachting story, okay? There's some significance here for what all of that means. And not only metaphorically does everything stand for something in consciousness, it's all happening inside of you. Listen to what I'm saying. It's all happening inside of you. You are every character. You are the protagonist. You are the antagonist. All of it's inside of you. And when you look at it that way, it makes the scriptures come alive in just this whole other kind of way, because you see that everything is a story about how different states of consciousness interact with each other. So in this story, it says that there's a boat. And Jesus is in the boat. Jesus is at the helm and he's asleep. His disciples are panicking on this boat because there's this storm that's coming and they are terribly afraid. Now, the disciples metaphysically represent faculties of our mind, once again within us. Each of the particular disciples represents something. So when you're looking at the stories, you look at who's doing what. For example, Simon Peter is faith. John is love. It's just fascinating. So when it's them collectively, it's like all of it within us, our love, our faith, our strength, all of these characteristics that we have within us that are our spiritual power, so to speak. So the storm is going on and our spiritual powers are freaking out. They're just freaking out. They see doomsday. And they're angry and they're mad at Jesus. Okay? Jesus is representing that part of yourself that knows and knows that it knows. It is at perfect peace through everything. But there's this tension that happens because that part of ourselves that's freaking out and all upset and thinking that we are the storm and thinking that the storm is going to hurt us in all these kind of ways, we have no tolerance for any part of us to be calm, to be peaceful, to just be riding through it. Like, snap up, wake up. What are you talking about? You know, haven't you paid attention to the current events? I know you know what I'm talking about. There's that old saying about like misery loves company. There's nothing like to piss off or to bother people more than for them to be upset while you're just calm about everything. And so often they misinterpret your calmness, your faith, your knowingness with lack of understanding. They misinterpret it as indifference. They interpret it as apathy. They interpret it as a lack of understanding, and you're going to get accused of that. So you have to be willing and know that when you're standing in your strength, when you're standing in your power, when you are overriding the tide, everybody's not going to like that, and everybody is not going to understand that. They're not going to understand it. Other people aren't. And even within you, there will be that tension within your own self, questioning, why is there some part of me that's so calm? Why isn't all of me being freaked out about this at the moment? So they wake Jesus up. They wake him up. Now, mind you, they don't think that he can actually do anything. It's not like they're waking him up to save them or anything like that. They're just upset that he's not in the fear with them. So they challenge him on that and saying, like, don't you care? Don't you care that we are perishing? How can you just keep being there and sleeping? How can you do that? So Jesus is just done. Jesus is just too through. He didn't even bother to answer that question. He just challenges them and asks them, why are you so afraid? Why are you so afraid? Like, what are you doing? Why are you bothering me? Why are we even going through this? Why? And it says he gets up, and this is important here. It says he stands before the storm and he rebukes it. This is an extremely important concept. We don't talk about this enough. This idea of rebuking. When you rebuke something, it's a chastisement, so to speak. When you rebuke it, you are disempowering it. When you rebuke it, you're saying you have no power here. In the tradition that I train, Ernest Holmes created this thing called a spiritual mind treatment. It's an affirmative approach to prayer. And sometimes he refers to it as a series of affirmations and denials. It's not denial in the sense that we typically think of a denial, like just putting my head under the sand and pretending that something doesn't exist. No, this is denial from the standpoint of your willingness to deny that there's any truth in a lie. Listen to what I'm saying here, of what it's going to take to sometimes override that current tide. It's one thing to be praying for health and for wholeness and vitality, and it's a whole other thing to one day raise up, look at yourself in the mirror and say, cancer, you have no power over me. You do not have the last word. I choose life. You heal. You could be the battered person, and you could be praying, like for wholeness and peace and at some point you got to rebuke. At some point you have to stand up and say, I'm not a doormat. I'm not taking this anymore. You got to do a no, a stop to get to the yes sometimes. Like you got to say no to the drinking to get to the sobriety. You got to rebuke the alcoholism. So he stood before and he rebuked the storm. But here's the thing. Listen, it wasn't just argue with it. It wasn't even try to get rid of it. Standing in the midst of the storm, he declares, peace, be still. Peace, be still. Because the peace is in the eye of the storm. Your peace is in the eye of the storm. It's in the eye of the storm. Have you ever been in an airplane when it was raining or storming? Straight up, straight up, straight up, till you're above the storm. And above it, it's just sun shining and everything's like just fine. That's how it is in life. We think sometimes when we see the cloud and we see the rain and the storm and all of the rest, like that's all that there is. No, that's just the cloud passing through. Boom, pierce through. Go up above to where the sun is still shining. Have the courage to rebuke the tempests and the storms in your life. Say everything stands for consciousness. What's the storm in your life? What's the storm in your life? What's that little boat in your life? What is that? It's okay to have our boat in the water, but you don't want the water in your boat. You're in it, but you're not of it. The boat was in the storm, but it was not of the storm. Oh, see, I'm feeling like a black preacher now. It's like, can I get an amen? At this point, the black preacher will be like, oh, y'all don't hear me. Y'all don't hear me. You don't even hear what I'm talking about. You go above it. You go beyond it. You go through it. Everything is right there. If you have cancer, guess where the health is? It's inside the body with the cancer. You can't buy the health. You can't borrow it. You can't manufacture it. The doctor can't give it to you. Your loved ones can't. It's in you. It's in you. So you rebuke all that other stuff that's on the outer and you call forth the help that's in there. This is true for everything. It's true for relationships. When I'm training people to be spiritual counselors, tell them don't judge by the appearances of what you see. You can have a couple there in couples counseling and they're just like duking it out with each other and all that. And to the untrained eye, it would look like they hate each other. But I said, that's not hate. That's love. That is love that is so pent up and frustrated, they don't know what to do. I said, because if they really hated each other, they wouldn't be sitting in front of you. If they really hated each other, they wouldn't even be trying to love each other. But because they are so caught up in the appearances, so caught up in their narrative of what they think happened, so busy fixating on all of the so-called facts that they can't override it. They can't transcend it. And I am telling you now, I've been a counselor like almost 40 years, spiritually counseling people. The healing does not come when the outer stuff shifts and changes. There has to be an inner shift and change. If you're fighting for your family, fighting to save your family, you can't fight your family to save the family. It's the same thing. You're trying to save democracy. We can't fight each other to save it. Let that sink in. You have to override the current tide. Have the boldness for the Christ consciousness within you to step forward, and rebuke all those current tides. Call forth the peace, call forth the health, call forth the abundance, the sustainability, the reconciliation, the creativity, like whatever that is that appears to be to the naked eye threatened by the storm. And you need to say to your own internal stuff, why are you so afraid? You need to call your own faith, your own strength, your own love, your own. Call them up, call them out, call them in. Don't be a puppet. The economy, my relationships, no. Cut it. And stand in the sovereign divinity that you are. Breathe that in. It's done. It's complete. Let's take it to prayer. How good it is. How good it is to know and to know that we know. How good it is to know that we are spiritual beings, grounded in a truth, lifted up so that we can stand on higher ground. We're not fooled. We're not fooled by the stuff that's right in front of us. Because we see you, God. We see the goodness. We see the divine. We see the potentiality. We hear all that's not said. We go into the silence to experience that peace that passes all human understanding. Woo! The peace that we have in the midst of the storm. Oh, that's real peace. The joy that we have. Woo! Even in the midst of all the stuff that we don't like, the love that we feel even in the midst of the pains and the betrayal. Oh, thank you, God. Thank you for always being there. And I know it's like there's all these different situations and you just manage to be everywhere. Everything is happening in you. There's only you. And in you we live and we move and our being. And because we're spiritual, no external thing has the last word. So we call it forth. call it forth, not just for ourselves, but for everybody. Peace upon the earth in every conceivable way, from the planet herself to the way that we're treating each other. Fulfillment, we call it forth. Sustainability, we call it forth. Prosperity, abundance, health, love, joy, we call it forth. And we just marvel at all the different ways that it expresses itself. Oh my God, it's perfect, whole, and complete. We know that it was done before we even prayed. This prayer is just to recalibrate our consciousness to see what we can't see with time-blinded eye. It is good. It is done. We get out of the way. And so is it.
Override the current tide. Override the current tide. The current tide. The healing journey can't unring the bell, but every moment forward we can choose well. Don't make a God out of the circumstance. Hey, don't make a God out of mistakes. We are transformed by the renewing of our minds, but not conformed by the current of the current tides. Spirituality is not activity. Spirituality is knowing your identity. Override of the current tide. Override the current tide. We can't keep thinking the same thing. No, sis, anything can act like a form of hypnosis. And where is your attention? That isn't your direction. This is where you are going. You may need a course correction. You are not this world. You are from the divine. Clean off that windshield so you can have a smooth ride. You are not the mud or the crud from the wind. There is nothing wrong with you. You're clean within. Override the current tide. You gotta override the current tide. See people for all they can be, but meet them where they are in reality. Don't let the drama be the whole story. Be sure to include the glory. See, part of you needs company for your misery, but Jesus is a part of you that knows peace. This tension within, it's a part of the will, but the faith says chill, be still. Override the current tide. Override the current tide. Have the courage to rebuke the storm. Have the courage to rebuke the storm. Have the courage to rebuke the storm. I have the courage to rebuke the storm. Override the current tide. Override the current tide.
You did it again. You're like
Your words and rhyme so everybody can get the message twice.
you're like a musical graphic recorder. I love it.
I love that one.
And
I
is
love
that
that one. I hope I remember it.
Oh, good. I mean, thank you. You did a great job. Are those your paintings in the behind you? Too?
Yes, they are.
I love it. That's just a lot of talent. Thank you.
Well, thank
Thank you
you.
so much, Amy.
Thank you.
Woo! Yes. Let's breathe that in. We're a praying community here, a praying community. We invite you to submit your prayer requests. There are people who have been training to hold that high watch with you, to speak the word, to call it forth. Don't have a heavy heart. Don't think that you got to do it alone, because you don't. We're here as spiritual community. Give us a call. You see the number streaming across your screen right now? 831-465-9090, the extension 254. Send us an email. The number 4, prayer@innerlightministries.com. Somebody will get back to you, and as soon as you submit, people start praying, and we pray for you for at least 30 days. Everything is strictly confidential. If you happen to be watching us in real time as we're broadcasting, I invite you to join us. Join us this afternoon. The first Sunday of every month, we meet at the 418 Project in downtown Santa Cruz. It's where the old River Street theaters used to be, from 3 to 5 p.m. that specific time, where we just come together and music and to fellowship, and we pray together. There's no sermons. It's just all communing, all communing. There are so many wonderful things that are going on at Inner Light. I encourage you to go to our website, check out our calendar. There's upcoming class that's going to be starting, Brave Spaces. I've been talking about it for the last couple of weeks. It's going to be starting very soon this week. And it is a safe space to explore. It's a safe place to go deep, to unveil, to look at this construct from a social justice standpoint, this construct of quote unquote whiteness. You know, like we were talking about, there's a way that people show up in the world, and then people judge them by how they show up, and we attribute all kinds of things to them and all the rest of that. Well, it's a time to unpack that, so that those who are walking in that, and those who are walking in that skin, and those who are walking in that paradigm and everything that has to do with it, have a chance to come together, rethink, regroup, heal, transform, so they can show up in a way that is truly a blessing to all. So if you have any interest at all in stepping up your game, and right now I contend we all need to step up our game, I invite you, in fact, to check that out. Lots of things going on. Check out our calendar. Whether it's virtual, and this is a virtual class, or whether it's in person, there's always a place for you with Inner Light. I invite you now to make a contribution. Make a contribution. This is our time of donating. This is our time of giving. And there's all kinds of ways that you can give. And I want to encourage you to check out, if you're with a company, check them out and see if they do any sort of match funding. Sometimes they do. I will be sharing with you some other opportunities where there are websites that you can go to and take a look at charitable giving and see if your company or your business is there, and through them, they'll hook it up and make sure that you don't even have to worry about sending a check or whatever that amount is that you say you want to donate. It'll just come straight from your company straight into us. And it's just a wonderful way to be able to make a contribution. There are other ways that are going to be showing on your screen. and you'll see that there's a QR code that's there. You can go to, use your mobile device. It'll take you straight to our portal. You can go online, innerlightministries.com/donate, and do it that way as well. When you go there, you see that you'll be given an opportunity to make it a recurring donation. I want to encourage you to do that. The consistency is what allows us the fiscal stability to continue to serve you, to do the work that we have to do to grow and to expand. You can also use Cash App. There's text to give. And if you use Amazon, you can just go through Amazon Smiles, just like you do your regular Amazon Prime. It's just another designation. And if you use that portal, then a portion of eligible purchases, a donation of that will come back to Inner Light. You do, though, have to mark us as your charitable contribution benefactor. Then you don't even have to think about it. It just will happen, automatically. So thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your support and for your love and for stepping it up a little bit at this great time of transition to empower us to really go those next steps. And on that note, I'm going to ask Amy to take us home.
Well, since we were talking about that windshield and the storm, I just thought we have to sing this to close. And it's another agape. So I hope you love it. We let the love wash over us. We let it be. Join me singing, we let the joy. We let the joy wash over us. We let it be. We let it be. How about the peace? Peace be still. We let the peace wash over us. We let it be. All right, love. One more time. Come on. We let the love. We let it wash over us. We let it be. Namaste. Have an awesome day.
Namaste. Let us take this consciousness and multiply it. We invite you to join us if you're in real time. Come on into our Zoom room. There are people who are there. They are ready to fellowship with you, to be with you, to talk to you. You have breakout groups. See you there.